Buddy.
Perfect. Okay, so we are on week 6. We are on Matthew 11. Boom.
Matthew, Mark.
Mark 11. Thank you.
I was
He
like,
knows
we're
what
in the
he's
wrong book.
saying.
I'm already tired.
Same. That's
Swarming
why
your
you
brain too
switched it to
much.
6. That's why you switched it to 6 instead of 7.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the reason why.
Well, it just made it easier to hang out with the girlfriend and have a little
That's
bit more
fair.
time so that we can do this, get off a little bit earlier, eat food, watch TV, stuff like that, and just have more time to spend with her and hang out. So it works out better
Excuses.
that way. It's good excuses though. They're valid
Yes,
excuses. She's yelling at
they
you in
are.
the distance.
I'm not. I'm just being funny.
They're
I heard
not
you.
excuses. Okay, so let's go through this one. As they approached Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and said to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and immediately as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, on which no one yet has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. And if anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' you say, 'The Lord has need of it,' and immediately he will send it back here." Quick little pause. Really wish I made a video that I filmed earlier today after reading this, just because this would have been fresh in my mind. But Jesus, right here, literally calling himself the Lord. There was some video from some guy who has no idea what he's talking about, who's like, Jesus never told you to call him Lord. It's like,
Oh,
yeah, so this wasn't fresh in my mind, so I didn't smack him on that part. I got everything else. Okay. And they went away
You
and
could
found
add
a
it.
cult. What was that?
You could add just like pin it to a comment up top in your comment section.
I could, or just edit in a random thing where it just pops me in completely different and just be like, also Mark 11. And then,
You also can do that.
but I might, that might be interesting. And they went away and found a colt tied at the door outside in the streets, and they untied it. And some of the bystanders were saying to them, "What are you doing untying the colt?" And they spoke to them just as Jesus told them and gave them, and they gave them permission. And they brought the colt to Jesus and put their garments on it, and he sat on it. And many spread their garments in the road, and others spread leafy branches, having cut them from the fields. And those who went in front and those who followed were shouting, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming of our father David. Hosanna in the highest. And Jesus entered Jerusalem and came into the temple. And after looking around at everything, he left Bethany with the 12, since it was already late. Now, on the next day, when they had left Bethany, he became hungry. And seeing at a distance a fig tree that had leaves, he went to see. Sorry, I got distracted by this gigantic pop up right here that I don't. Okay, it's gone. Let's see here. Uh,
Up a little
And
bit.
seeing at a distance a fig tree that had leaves, he went to see if perhaps he would find anything on it. And he went, sorry, and when he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. And he answered and said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples were listening. And then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were buying and selling in the temple, and overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who were selling doves. And he was not permitting anyone to carry merchandise through the temple. And he began to teach and say to them, "It is not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer.'" No, sorry, is it not written? My brain is so dead right now. My house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations, but you have made it a robber's den. And the chief priests and the scribes heard this and began seeking how to destroy him. And they were afraid of him, for the whole crowd was astonished at his teaching. And when evening came, they were going out of the city. As they were passing in the morning, they saw the fig tree withered from the roots. And being reminded, Peter said to him, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree which you cursed has withered. And Jesus answered and said to him, Have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, Be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes what he says it is going to happen, it will be granted him. For this reason I say to you, all things which you pray and ask, believe you have received them, and they will be granted to you. And whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father who is in heaven will also forgive you your transgressions. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father who is in heaven forgive your transgressions. Then they came again to Jerusalem. And as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests and the scribes and the elders came to him and began saying to him, By what authority are you doing these things? Or who gave you this authority to do these things? And Jesus said to them, I will ask you one question, and you answer me. Then I will tell you by what authority I do these things. Was the baptism of John from heaven or from men? Answer me. And they began reasoning among themselves, saying, If we say from heaven, he will say, Then why did you not believe him? But if we say from men, they were afraid of the crowd, for everyone was regarding John to have been a real prophet. And answering Jesus, they said, We do not know. And Jesus said to them, Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. Questions?
Oh,
Yes.
you can ask first, Chantel,
Oh.
or whoever said yes.
Well, I was trying to go back up. I can't remember what verse. I was trying to find it. Where he says, like, whatever you pray for, if you believe it, it is granted. Trying to find exactly. I think it was.
Verse 24. For this reason I say to you, all things which you pray and ask, believe that you have received them, and they will be granted to you.
Yeah, it was kind of more of like a comment than really a question. Like, I feel like a lot of like new age, like Christian and like woke people, they
Like the
take like
manifestation stuff.
yeah, they keep like referring to that and like I don't know, like I keep like well, I think to myself, I don't always like get into debates and conversations with people. I probably should, but I don't know, sometimes I just don't have the energy. So I'm just like, I'm
Neither do I.
sorry. Repent so you don't go to hell. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like they use that and they take it very much out of context and like put the power back into themselves, right? Like, oh, I prayed for it, so I'm going to get it because I asked for it, right? Not, I prayed for it and God gave it to me, like, giving the glory to God. It's like they take it and twist it and make it to where like they're glorifying themselves for whatever it is that they pray for and manifest.
Yes. So the distinction would be whenever Jesus is talking about your level of faith. So he's preceding this by
Right.
saying, Have faith in God. And he says, Truly, I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, Be taken up and cast into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to happen, it will be granted to him. So what he's talking
Mhm.
about is if you actually have that faith whenever you make that request to God, if you actually believe God, you can trust that he is going to answer that prayer. You can trust he's going to provide for you. You can trust he's going, and
Right.
God's not a genie, so it's not like this input output type of thing. But with manifestation, it's that you are putting a positive thought out into this nameless,
Universe.
personableless environment of the
Right.
universe, and that is somehow going to reward you for doing it, that you have your own power to form things. This is directly in opposition to it, saying that only God has that ability to do that. But if you actually trust God, then God is going to take care of you.
Right.
Did that answer the question or comment?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
But
more
yeah,
just like
a lot of people try to twist it to try to support the Christ consciousness nonsense.
Yeah, they use
yeah,
Jesus's name like a magical word, like, oh, in Jesus' name this, in Jesus' name this.
Hmm.
Like,
right.
Which is blasphemy.
huh. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanted
what's the
to
other question?
oh, Chantel, did you have another question?
No.
Oh, okay. No, well, mine wasn't really a question. I just kind of wanted to like point something out. Uh, so in this gospel, it says that the tree withers like overnight, basically, right?
Let's see here. I'm not sure how long they were gone. Passing by the fig tree in the morning, so we can assume.
Yeah, because in Matthew, I know it says it happens like instantly. Um,
Okay. Well, it could have happened instantly, and then they just didn't see it till the next morning.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, like, because just in case like someone was to bring it up, like, oh, is this a contradiction? Like, I wanted to like see like, well, how can I like reconcile that idea?
Okay. Well, I think it would be that they notice it the next day, but the
I
effects may have
mean,
been instant.
yeah, I mean, a tree withering like overnight is pretty instant too. Like that doesn't
Yeah,
happen like ever. So
exactly.
maybe Matthew was like speaking like figuratively or something.
Yeah, hyperbolically.
Yeah, hyperbolically.
Definitely
I did
possible.
always wonder why I did always wonder why he like cursed the fig tree because like it wasn't producing fruit because it wasn't in season. So then, like he still cursed it and then it
So
withered away.
there's a lot of different views on that. Um, the one that I hold to is representing sin. So the most likely fruit that Adam and Eve ate was a fig. And the reason for that is because immediately after they ate of it, they felt the shame, they felt the guilt, and so they tried to hide their bodies because they were naked. And so they covered themselves
Right.
in fig leaves. So it would potentially be one of the closest. They were covering themselves to try to hide their sin with the evidence of their sin, essentially. And so it's just,
Right.
I think it was that, but then there's other interpretations, other views where people will view it as um, the way that the Jews eventually rejected Jesus is that he was cursing the fig tree, representing the entire Jewish people as since they're not producing the fruits, they're not believing him, then they as a whole will be cursed in that regard of them denying and rejecting him.
Hmm.
So, digging into my vast knowledge of botany, I've kind of read up on this. Um, Fig trees will actually produce fruit before they produce leaves, which is which is very
Oh,
unusual. And so when Jesus and the guys were walking, they saw far off, they saw this tree and they saw the leaves, so they assumed that there would be fruit on it. And so when they got there and there wasn't any fruit, that's why he cursed it, from what I read. Um, but also, they like with apple trees, you can only harvest it once a year. With fig trees, they have several different seasons where they can produce fruit several times a year. So
interesting.
they just, yeah,
So it had the appearance of having
having
fruits, but it did not actually have the
right,
fruits.
right.
That's beautiful. So it'd be like a Pharisee.
Yes, exactly.
We got three different options. Which one do you guys want to go to?
It was probably multiple, because
Maybe it's all of them in one.
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
mean
go with that.
this yeah, in this gospel, like it says the lesson of the fig tree of the withered fig tree, and that's when Jesus talks about like oh whatever well what we were just talking about
Mhm.
that if they believe in their heart and if they ask for something that it'll be done. Like
Yes.
I guess it was to demonstrate to the disciples like that very thing, but
Okay.
also uh that like if you're not producing fruits, like you'll be cut off and stuff.
Okay.
Not cut
Then
off as
yeah.
your salvation. I mean like as in that you weren't actually saved.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a fake tree. You're a bush.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. Has anybody ever gone down the rabbit hole of the Den of Thieves
Depends
in
on
this
what kind of rabbit hole are you talking about? Because yes, and maybe not the same that you have.
What Den of Thieves?
going into Jeremiah?
No.
Well, technically it's Jeremiah is referencing I think Kings, but um they're referencing Jeremiah 7:11. Let's
Jeremiah
see here.
7:11.
Well, I guess I would say start in 8 and go um uh probably to 16, probably to 15.
Okay. So let's see here. Let's get this to zoom correctly so that my horrible eyes are able to see words nice and bigly. Eh. Okay. Behold, you are trusting in lying words to no avail. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear while lying, and burn incense to Baal, and walk after other gods that you have not known? Then come and stand before me in this house, which is called by my name, and say, We are delivered, that you may do all these abominations. Has this house which is called by my name, become a robber's den in your sight? Behold, I, even I, have seen it, declares Yahweh. But now go to my place, which is in Shiloh, where I made, was that?
Was in Shiloh.
Oh, sorry, which was in Shiloh, thank you. Where I made my name dwell at first, and see what I did to it because of the evil of my people Israel. And now, because you have done all these works, declares Yahweh, and I spoke to you rising up early and speaking, but you did not hear, and I called you, but you did not answer. Therefore, I will do to the house which is called by my name, in which you trust, and to the place which I gave you and your fathers, as I did to Shiloh. I will cast you out of my presence, as I have cast out all your brothers, all the seed of Ephraim. As for you, do not pray for this people, and do not lift up a cry of lamentation or prayer for them, and do not intercede with me, for I am not hearing you.
So I just like to emphasize whenever I read this with anybody, like Jesus's actual anger there, because this is telling us when he says den of robbers, he is talking about this, like Shiloh and then killing all of this. Like he is mad, righteously, but he is mad.
Mhm.
And it's kind of overlooked. Like we get flipping tables, like yes, we see that as anger, but we do not understand the anger truthfully.
Interesting.
That's just
That
something I find very interesting.
that is very, very cool. The other thing that is kind of left out in Jewish customs, they had a thing where if money ever fell in your direction, it's yours.
Hmm. Yes,
So when
I've
Jesus,
is
whenever he
flipping
was flipping the
tables.
tables, he was flipping it so
Mhm.
the money fell back to the people so that they can
Yes.
pick it up and it was rightfully theirs. They're not stealing it. He took it from the thieves and gave it back to the people, like Robin Hood
Hmm.
style.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know where I learned that. I learned that too.
I learned that
But
from a Messianic Jew at the gym a couple of years ago.
nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, I did not know that. And then he knows all the Jewish stuff. So I was like, that's pretty sweet. I didn't know that. It was awesome.
Very sweet. But yeah, I went down this rabbit hole with one book, with one Bible study, and my entire group was just like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "This is so cool!" And
That's
they're
not
just
what is
like,
wrong with you. That's awesome to be able to actually see that reference like that. What I think is
um,
the most interesting of this part, though, is God commanding you not to pray for the people who committed adult or idolatry. It's
And
like
then
they're,
also, if you go back and read about what happened to Shiloh, like that's just also wild.
do you know what chapter that is?
Gosh, I think it's in Second Kings, but I don't remember specifically which one. Does this tell me? I was gonna say that should tell you. Let's see how wrong I am. Because I know it's, I'm pretty sure that's when that one guy dies. First Samuel? First Samuel.
Is it in First Samuel? First Samuel 2 to
Context.
4.
How about do when Shiloh gets destroyed? God, destroy Shiloh. Pretty sure it's when that one priest dies and his sons die.
No, man, I hate ChatGPT sometimes, but I'll never give him the exact date. No, I'm wanting the reference for the time.
Eli, yeah. So when Eli dies and his sons die. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so First Samuel 4.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll pull that up.
Doesn't Eli die at a different time from his sons? Because isn't Eli the one that raises Samuel?
Hmm.
But he, yeah, he
That's a
raises
good
Samuel,
question.
but he's not around for the whole time.
Hmm.
First Samuel 4, so we're 4 chapters in.
Yeah.
Death of Eli right there. Yeah.
Oh, see, on my screen, I have half of it visible. The bottom half is filled up with your guys' faces.
Oh.
So when you're
I
like Death of Eli right
surprised
there,
you.
I'm like, I do where? Now, Amanda Benjamin ran from the battle line and came to Shiloh the same day with his robes torn and dust on his head. And he came, and behold, Eli was sitting on his seat by the roads, eagerly watching, because his heart was trembling for the ark of God. Now the man came to tell it in the city, and all the city cried out. Then Eli heard the noise of the outcry, and he said, what does this noise, or what does the noise of this commotion mean? So the man came hurriedly and told Eli. Now Eli was 98 years old, so yep, plenty of time to raise up Samuel. And his eyes had set so that he could not see. And the man said to Eli, I am the one who came from the battle line. Indeed, I fled from the battle line today. And he said, how did things go, my son? Then the one who brought the news and said, Israel has fled before. Sorry. Then the one who brought the news answered and said, Israel has fled before the Philistines, and there has also been a great slaughter among the people. And your two sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of God has been taken. And it happened that when he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell off his seat backwards besides the gate, and his neck was broken, and he died. For the man was old and heavy. Thus he judged Israel for 40 years. Do we continue?
Well, just a quick question to refresh my mind, but was Eli seen as a bad judge? I know he messed up with his sons because they didn't like follow him or something.
They
Oh
were
no.
so bad. I mean, this is
Yeah.
Eli is part of the reason why they're getting judged so harshly. Because if you go back and read what his sons were doing, actually, and like
Yeah.
it's not super plainly obvious. I mean, it is if you're paying attention, but if you're just kind of like reading to read and not reading to study, you're not going to catch on to it. But like his sons were sleeping around with people.
Yeah,
Like
no,
they
I
were
remember
not
his
doing.
sons being like bad, but um I don't remember if like Eli was like completely blamed for it or not. I know
He is
he
blamed for it because he wasn't being a strict father. Like
hmm,
he wasn't holding his sons accountable and he was just looking over it, like what Taco said at one point, like,
sins of
um,
omission and sins of
yes.
hmm,
Commission and omission.
Commission.
Yes. So like he may not have like he
He
could
didn't.
have saved the people
Didn't.
from the falling car, but he chose not to, kind of a thing.
Hmm.
Interesting.
So Shiloh is judged very harshly from all of this. But then we get Samuel, so
Interesting.
yes. Very
But
interesting.
so this went over his death, but it did not mention.
It did not mention it mentions it somewhere. So people sent to Shiloh.
Shiloh was not part of Israel, was it?
I don't know.
Shiloh's battle, maybe?
Um,
Because in this, the Ark of the Covenant gets stolen, and then whoever takes it is just like, no, send it back. We don't want it because it
Yeah,
keeps
because all
hurting us.
the plagues. Yeah, and
Yeah, because I
they
think it's
did.
just more of for First Samuel. Like if you just keep reading it, it eventually kind of tells you
okay.
burning and being attacked. Yeah.
I always
Okay.
find it funny that they made golden rat statues and they gave it back and they gifted them those too.
Interesting though.
I love they send it on the way with just two cows, just like, bye, we don't want you.
Oh, I wish that we got like a better description of it actually being destroyed then, instead of just references to it being destroyed.
I think
Interesting.
it references it maybe in a different part of how bad it was, but maybe this is just when it happens.
It was also made reference to Psalm 78.
Did that say Jeremiah 17 too?
Oh.
Jeremiah 12 through
7,
14?
12 through 14.
Okay, I'm looking it up. I think it's where Shiloh was where they kept the tabernacle and the Ark of the Covenant. It's like a small like not town, but
Jeremiah is what we read, which is what referenced us to First Samuel.
Yes. But we did Jeremiah 7, right?
Yeah, it said 7, 12 through 14. We read 8 through 16.
Okay, perfect. But then there's also 26, 6.
Okay.
So
We did
Jeremiah
not read that.
26, 6. Yeah. Okay, so this part, 64 in Psalms. Eh, eh. There we go. So that he abandoned the dwelling place of Shiloh, the tent which he cut. Let's back up one verse. God heard and was filled with wrath and greatly rejected Israel, so that he abandoned the dwelling place of Shiloh, the tent which he caused to dwell among men, and gave up his strength to captivity and his beauty into the hand of the adversary. He also gave over his people to the sword and was filled with wrath at his inheritance. Fire devoured his choice men, and his virgins had no wedding songs. His priests fell by the sword, and his widows could not weep. Then the Lord awoke as if from sleep, as if he were a warrior overcome by wine. So this is obviously a song. It's very poetic, not literal, but interesting references. Okay, so what was the other one? Jeremiah 26?
Well, I was gonna say, if you go First Samuel 4 and you read from the top, that gives us more information outside of just reading
About his
that's
just
death?
where about his death. Yeah.
Okay.
to me that kind
Because all of this stuff happened and he was surprised and died.
Okay. Oh, there's a big button right here.
Oh, hey, look at that.
This whole time, I could have gone to 150% and made this like, oh,
Taco's happy.
I'm still learning technologies. It's great. Okay, so starting at verse 1 or going down?
I'd say
Yeah,
just
I guess
start
we'll
at
start at
verse
verse
1.
1.
All the context.
Okay, thus the word of Samuel came to all Israel. Now Israel went out to meet the Philistines in battle and camped beside Ebenezer, and the Philistines camped at Aphek. And the Philistines arranged themselves to meet Israel. Then the battle spread, and Israel was defeated before the Philistines, who struck down about 4,000 men on the battlefield. Then the people came into the camp, and the elders of Israel said, "Why has Yahweh defeated us today before the Philistines? Let us take ourselves from Shiloh. Let us take to ourselves from Shiloh the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, that it may come among us and save us from the power of our enemies." So the people sent to Shiloh, and from there they carried the ark of the covenant of Yahweh of hosts, who sits above the cherubim. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni, and Phinehas were, sorry, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were there with the ark of the covenants of God. And it happened that as the ark of the covenants of Yahweh came into the camp, all Israel shouted with a great shout, so that the earth was thrown into confusion. Then, then the Philistines heard the noise of the shout and said, "What does the noise of this great shout in the camp of the Hebrews mean?" Then they knew that the ark of Yahweh had come into the camp. And the Philistines were afraid, for they said, "God has come into the camp." And they said, "Woe to us, for nothing like this has happened before. Woe to us, who shall deliver us from the hand of these mighty gods? These are the gods who struck the Egyptians with all kinds of plagues in the wilderness. Be strong and become men, O Philistines, lest you become slaves to the Hebrews, as they have been slaves to you. Therefore become men and fight." So the Philistines fought, and Israel was defeated, and every man fled to his tent, and the slaughter was very great, for there fell of Israel 30,000 foot soldiers. And the ark of God was taken, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, died.
Yeah, we skipped all the
Yeah, we really
good
should have
stuff.
not jumped down to here. That makes more sense.
Yes. So,
Interesting, though.
yeah. 30,000 foot soldiers. That's
Yeah, that's incredible.
wild. Yeah, so not a very like Den of Thieves. Yeah. Like
Yeah, big
that's
deal.
not a good reference.
Yeah, that is very angry Jesus.
Very angry Jesus.
Very angry cheese.
Okay, the one you read earlier kind of sounded, I don't know if you guys got this too, but it kind of sounded like God, like like letting the ark get taken. That he is
Oh, 100%.
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like, that was what I was supposed to think, right?
Yeah. Awesome, though.
Yeah.
That was a good rabbit hole.
One, he let it get taken because they were trying to force God's hand by bringing it into battle. And
Mhm.
God's just like, you're not forcing my hand. And then with it allowed to be taken, showing his glory by doing the plagues to them too, and causing them issues like, never mind, we don't want this because you do have a real God and we're not about this.
Mhm.
Why
Very
did
cool, though.
why did they take it if they were like scared of him?
Well, they thought that it would give them power. They were kind of trying to use it as an idol. That like, if we have this, then we're going to win because we'll have the power of their God.
Yes, and they probably thought they could control our God and found out very fast that they can't.
Yeah, it's literally Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like,
I was
this is
about to say,
Indiana
yeah.
Jones in
Yeah.
Oregon.
Stole the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yes, that's a very fun rabbit hole that I like.
The Nazis should have just read the Bible.
Don't touch it.
Well, Nazis were Catholic, so
True.
partially, not all of them.
Well,
But the
Hitler was
Vatican-
raised Catholic. He wasn't. I wouldn't say he was a practicing Catholic.
No, he wasn't, but he created his own. He wrote the Ten Commandments. He rewrote the Ten Commandments. He had his own translation of the Bible, which is what his soldiers were allowed to read. But he still never made a move against Poland until he got the Pope's permission. So he literally got the Vatican's permission to invade Poland to start World War II. So, fun fact of the day.
I did not know the Pope was behind the invasion of Poland.
He wasn't behind
that
it,
why-
but he didn't say no.
Sins
He's
of
like,
that-
yeah, sure, go for it.
I feel like my fun fact is better than World War
Your
II.
fun fact is better than Hitler invading Jews. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that why Hitler didn't like Jews because they
Jesus.
didn't accept Jesus?
No, that is because he had a very fake version of Jesus. There's an entire book out called Hitler's Jesus, and it goes over what Hitler was like teaching about his beliefs in Jesus, and it's like just blatantly wrong and disgusting. But no, a lot of people try to theorize that, like that he tried to kill the Jews because the Jews killed Jesus, and that's just not at all true. His primary thing was that they were in charge of the banks, and he screwed up their money system. And then he was blaming the Jews, saying like they're the reason that we're going into poverty. They're the reason the economy's crashing. That we need to go after them because they're what's causing us to have a failure in our monetary system. So that was the primary reason that he got people on the side for it. What his actual reasoning before it,
Yeah.
it's anyone's guess because he was also a eugenicist where he wanted to just kill everyone that was not Aryan, even though he himself wasn't Aryan. So it didn't make sense. Aryan is like blonde hair, blue eyes, and he was brown eyed, brown hair. So it didn't fully correlate. But anyone who's not German was weaker. So he wanted to kill everyone who was not. It was like hyper Darwinian evolution. Whereas, like, instead of the survival of the fittest, it was like, hey, we're just going to speed this up by killing the weakest. So that's why he was going after blacks. That's why he's going after gays. That's why it was Jews. It was everyone besides Germans.
He wasn't even German either, right?
He was German.
I thought he was like Austrian or something.
I think he's German,
Oh,
but we'll check that. I'm pretty sure he was German.
I think
Another
he's
rebel.
born in
Was
Austria.
Hitler German? I don't know. I can't see the bottom of my screen, so I don't know if I even spelt that.
even
Yeah, I
German
did. Okay. No, Hitler was Austrian born.
Yep.
Oh,
makes it even worse.
What?
he became a German citizen in 1932?
So just before he got elected.
That's
What?
very odd.
Huh.
I feel like he climbed the ladder far too quickly.
Well, he was like a commander during World War One against them. So he was living there and he was in the German military during World War One. That's where he rose a lot in his power.
I think
But
that's how he got his German citizenship.
that would make sense if he fought for Germany. Let's stop talking about Hitler.
We're just
Yeah, I
gonna
know.
chop this section out of this study.
No, it's
Talked about
staying.
Indiana Jones and it went down a Nazi.
We get weird rabbit holes, and that's what's entertaining. Okay.
Is YouTube gonna allow it?
They might. They allowed a full AI transcription of his speeches.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
which
fair
if you
enough.
guys haven't heard that, it sounds like a weird thing to watch, but I would recommend watching it. It's very interesting. They have it's an AI translation, and they copied his voice, so you can listen to his speeches in English, and it's quite fascinating to actually hear what he was saying in these big public events, because a lot of what he was saying in those specific things were like the exact same things that you hear from politicians today. It's like,
Oh yeah.
it's creepy. Like you hear that and you're just like, wow, we're still falling for the same communism. This is okay.
He was very charismatic.
Yeah, he
We
was,
won't
he
say
was a
what
very
side.
liberal. He was a socialist. Nazi literally stood for the Natural Socialist Party. He was literally the embodiment of left-wing ideology. And then whenever left-wing ideology crashes, they try to overcorrect to conservatism, and that is what fascism is. It's the failure of liberalism where they try to hyperextend on the other end and go to the extremity, which causes even more corruption. So they literally went from the most evil possible liberal side to the evilest possible conservative side, which doesn't make sense fully in my mind. Like, I understand that this is like the way that they categorize it and put it on a scale, but the furthest possible conservative side is anarchy. So I don't understand why. That's confusing to me.
Overcompensation.
Yeah, unless anarchy's in the middle. If that's the case, then we all just need to be neutral and just get rid of the government. Siri.
You can't be saying that on
I
YouTube.
can. They won't know. These YouTube videos don't get enough views for them to pick up on it. Okay. Mark 12. And he began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard and put a wall around it, and dug a vat under the winepress, and built a tower, and rented it out to vine growers, and went on a journey. And at the harvest time, he sent a slave to the vine growers in order to receive some of the fruit of the vineyard from the vine growers. And they took him and beat him and sent him away empty-handed. And again, he sent them another slave, and they wounded him in the head and treated him shamefully. And he sent another, and that one they killed, so that with or and so with many others beating some and killing others. Um, he had one more, a beloved son, and he sent him. Sorry, my brain is dying as I'm trying to read this. He had one more, a beloved son. He sent him last of all to them, saying, "They will respect my son." But those vine growers said to one another, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance will be ours." And they took him and killed him and threw him out of the vineyard. What will the owner of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the vine growers and will give the vineyard to others. Have you not even read this scripture? The stone which the builders rejected, this has become the chief cornerstone. This came about from the Lord, and it is marvelous in our eyes. And they were seeking to seize him, and yet they feared the crowd, for they understood that he spoke the parable against them, and so they left him and went away. Then they sent some of the Pharisees and Herodians to him in order to trap him in a statement. And they came and said to him, "Teacher, we know that you are truthful and defer to no one, for you are not partial to any, but teach the way of God in truth. Is it lawful to pay a tax to Caesar or not? Shall we pay or not pay?" But he, knowing their hypocrisy, said to them, "Why are you testing me? Bring me a denarius to look at." They brought him one, and he said to them, "Whose likeness and inscription is this?" And they said to him, "Caesar's." And Jesus said to them, "Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's." And they were amazed at him. Fun little breakaway from here. Deuteronomy 10 explains that everything belongs to God. Everything belongs to God. And so
Caesar's likeness is God's likeness.
So even though it had Caesar's inscription on it, it still didn't belong to Caesar. It had his likeness on it, but it never belonged to Caesar. Everything is God's. Everything belongs to God.
So would that be a contradiction?
No, this was Jesus's way of saying, don't pay taxes.
Yeah. No, it wasn't it talking about him like telling that you should follow the government, but give yourself because yourself belongs to God. So
Yeah,
you give
kind of.
yourself to God.
Kind of. This whole thing is that they were trying to question him in this way because they knew that
They're trying to
the
get him to
actual
trap.
like commandment would be in some regards to anti-taxes. So he had to word it in a very specific way because there were presumably Roman officers standing by, and if someone said anything against taxes, they would have seized them. So right here,
Yeah,
render to Caesar what is, or the things that are Caesar's, and give to God the things that are God's.
yeah.
So
I believe in Rome to openly, like in a crowd, condemn taxes to Caesar was punishable by death.
yes, or something like that. Yeah, if you went
Yeah.
against them stealing your money, then yeah. But there's a reason why whenever you have the Bible talking about sinners in the New Testament specifically, it's always the tax collectors. Like that they are the ones that are considered to be the most sinful because of what they're doing. That their
Well, I
job
also
is literally stealing for the government.
I heard that majority of tax collectors were like shaving extra and keeping that for themselves, so they were considered thieves.
It's possible, but even so, they're still thieves. Um,
Yeah.
stealing for
Well, yeah.
themselves
When
compared
it
to
comes to
stealing for
taxes,
the
yes, they're
government.
still thieves, but they're thieves. They're selfish thieves.
This
Well,
video
and
is
they
going to get taken down so fast.
were also Jewish, so it was like a Jewish person turning on their own,
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
which made it
so
worse.
they were traitors. They were thieves. There was just so many things wrong with them.
there's a lot wrong with it. Then some Sadducees who say that there is, then some Sadducees who say that there is no resurrection came to Jesus and began questioning him, saying, Teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies and leaves behind a wife and leaves no children, his brother should marry the wife and raise up a seed for his brother. There were 7 brothers, and the first married a wife and died, leaving no seed. And the second brother married her and died, leaving behind no seed. And the third likewise. And so all 7 left no seed. Last of all, the woman died. In the resurrection, when they rise again, whose wife will she be? For all 7 had married her. And so again, these people, they don't believe in the resurrection at all, so they're trying to like twist this into a hypothetical to confuse him. And Jesus said to them, is this not the reason you are or is this not the reason you are mistaken, that you do not understand the scriptures, nor the power of God? For when they rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like angels in heaven. But regarding the fact that the dead are raised, have you not read in the book of Moses, in the passage about the burning bush, how God spoke to him, saying, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. He is not the God of the dead, but of the living. You are greatly mistaken. So this verse, Catholics love to twist and pull out of context.
Oh
And
yeah.
which is hilarious though, that this is of all the verses that they try to use for like saying it's okay to pray to dead people, it's this one because they don't believe in a resurrection. Like the Sadducees, modern day Catholicism does not teach a final end time resurrection like the Bible talks about in Revelation chapter 20, where we're
I
all
was gonna
dead and
say
then
it
we all come
literally
back.
says that.
Yeah, exactly. But
They
they
ignored
deny
literal
that.
stuff.
They think that you immediately go to heaven and that's it. They don't think of it in terms of a biblical context where there is the resurrection of the dead. And this is
No, they
why
look.
people get so twisted with like soul sleep, which I think is a stupid name for it because I don't know if they're asleep or awake or whatever. The Bible doesn't talk about that. But just the fact that they're in paradise until the resurrection where they're resurrected. And everyone, even people who didn't believe in Jesus, that's the second resurrection. There's the first resurrection and the second resurrection listed in Revelation chapter 20. We'll jump there real quick. That way we
You know,
can get this full circle.
there's a lot of people that aren't even just like Catholics that, and I personally feel it's because they haven't read the Bible. So
Mhm.
like they're just going on things that they've heard, but not true scripture. But a lot of
Yes.
people, like even Christians, believe that when we die, we go right to heaven, and like they'll even like pray or say, "Oh, every time I see the number 44, I know that's my brother letting me know that he's still here." And it's like,
And
no,
that's
it's
disgusting.
not. It's a demon. And if that's what you
That's a
really
demon
think,
message.
you're communicating with a demon. And it's like, how do you say that to somebody though who's grieving their brother who just passed, Like
You try to
it's a
show them the
tricky.
reality. I mean, it's
Hmm.
really tricky because like they are sad and you have to try to be empathetic and gentle with them, but at the same time you have to be like, no, he's dead. He's
But
not
like,
lingering around. He's not a ghost. He's not
Right.
here. That
what's
number
harsher
that
though?
reminds you, what was that?
What's harsher though, letting them go down a bad path or
Exactly.
showing them the right path?
We have to be willing to love people enough to offend them with the truth. That's the biggest thing. So like
Yeah.
there was a client I had a while back and she was telling me this weird spiritual journey that she went on when she was super duper high. And she talked about seeing like these beings of light who were trying to entice her and some stuff. And I wasn't gentle at all. I was just like, dude, those are
Those
straight
were
up
deep.
demons. Like, yeah. So needless to say, she's not a client anymore. She got very offended. It was very funny. Um, but it's true. It's like if someone's telling me like, "Oh yeah, I saw demons," but they don't think they're demons, it's like I don't care. If you keep, I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong is really, really dangerous and really wrong because I don't want you to continue on that path. And
Was
yet,
she a Catholic?
no, no, not a Catholic. She was like I would say probably New Age would be the closest thing, but it
Yeah,
was
because
like
I was,
I can't remember what drug it was, like the ayahuasca or whatever that you do the big trip and then you see all the weird stuff. So
Oh
yeah,
I
yeah,
because I
don't.
know
the
I know
shaman.
there's some Catholics out there that believe that saints are like beings of light that help you with stuff and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is like read the Bible. Um, But Revelation 20, then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, having the key of the abyss and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he threw him into the abyss. So remember, Sheol or Hades, the grave, has two parts. There's paradise and the abyss. Those are the two sections. Abraham's bosom and the bottomless pit. Those are the two sides. So the abyss is the bad side. And he threw him into the abyss and shut it and sealed it over him so that he would not deceive the nations any longer until the 1,000 years were finished. And or after these things, he must be released for a short time. Then I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was given to them. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded because of their witness of Jesus and because of the word of God, and who also had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received the mark on their forehead or on their hand, and they came to life and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is the one who has part in the first resurrection. Over these, the second death has no authority, but they will be priests of God and of Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. So that is the thing that all the Jews believed in. All the Jews knew that there was a resurrection. Like whenever we were back in John chapter 11, and Jesus is talking to Martha, and Martha's coming up to him saying, like, if you had been here, then my brother wouldn't have died. And he's explaining, like, your brother will rise again. And she's like, I know he's going to rise again at the resurrection on the last day. And then Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though they die. Do you believe this? And she says, yes, I believe that you are the Christ that has come into this world. So it's like this perfect boom. And then he raises Lazarus earlier, but then Lazarus eventually dies again. But still, so this is what they're denying, and he's trying to trick him into this by giving them this like absurd hypothetical. And his way of responding to them is so great, where he says, like, they give this whole question, this whole hypothetical thing, and his response is like, okay, so is this why you're wrong? Like, is this why you're mistaken that you just don't understand? Like, it's basically like, are you stupid? Like, just is this why you're asking that question? You just really have no idea what you're talking about? It's awesome.
In the Old Testament, does the concept of the concept of the resurrection in there too?
And then even the part, I'll have to, oh, I don't remember where it is, but even the part of Satan being bound in the abyss, that is in the Old Testament. I think that's in Isaiah because it talks about how he was brought low and how all those who like worshiped him saw him as pathetic. And it's kind of giving you that foreshadow for why Satan's going to be locked away is so that all the people who worshiped him, because if you don't worship God, you worship Satan. Those are the only two options. So everyone who was choosing Satan intentionally or unintentionally, following a false god instead of God, they see him bound and just pathetic. So it's to humiliate him and ridicule him for 1,000 years during the millennial reign of Christ.
Hmm. But like, did Moses and like Abraham, like the earliest ones, like did they know that they were gonna come back like for the resurrection?
I would assume that they knew, but I can't think of anything in the earliest. Let's see here, because all the Jews knew that, but I'm not sure where.
Yeah.
Um,
You said that the Sadducees didn't believe that? Is that just because like the hardness of their hearts or something?
maybe.
Hmm.
No. So this is all going. Um,
But in Old Testament.
yeah.
Job.
Job.
Yeah, so Job, which would literally that is the first book ever written in the Bible. Fun fact. Um,
How early does that book go? Does that go like way before?
2000 BC.
So that's even before Abraham and
Yeah, so the book of
And
Genesis
who,
was written, so Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, those were written by Moses. He was
Moses.
the prophet who wrote them down. So it's
Yeah.
all inspired, it's all God telling the story, regardless. But Job lived, and the whole story of Job happened 2000 BC when that part was written. So
Yeah,
the
they believe because when Moses was in the wilderness, he was by Uzzah. I actually just read Job. So he was by Uzzah, and they believe that he got the script or tablet or anything of Job, and that's why he added it. It-
Interesting.
I- I've heard that from I've heard that from videos that because he was near Uzzah when he was in the wilderness, that's where Job was.
Interesting.
so
Yeah,
that's
so
cool.
he found that when he was in the wilderness. He was in the wilderness for 40 years.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if Job was the oldest one, then all of them should have known about the resurrection, or at least had a hint of it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if it's mentioning it there, and then again in Isaiah, and again in Daniel,
Well,
then
what kind of reference is it though?
well,
I
let's
feel
find
like
out.
that's,
so Job
I feel
19
like
Let's
if,
go down another rabbit
45.
hole.
We're going down all the rabbit holes.
Yeah, 'cause
We're like Alice in Wonderland today.
I remember a long
Biblical
time
rabbit
ago.
holes, just do it.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago. I asked like somebody who was Jewish, like, oh, what do they think happens that when they die? And
Mhm.
they just said nothing. Like you just go to the ground. And this was before I knew about Sheol and stuff, so I don't know if they meant like literally just they die, or if they were talking about Sheol. Because I
Interesting.
mean I was a kid, and so was the Jewish person. So I don't know if like that was just like the easiest way to explain it or something.
Yeah.
I don't believe about death.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah, I don't know what modern day Jews believe about death exactly, because I know that a lot of them are basically atheists. Um, As for me, I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last he will rise up over the dust of the world. Even after my skin is destroyed, yet from my flesh I shall behold God, whom I myself shall behold, and whom my eyes will see, and not another. My heart faints within me. So,
100%.
yeah, so my Redeemer lives, and the last he will rise up over the dust. So whenever we die, dust to dust, ash to ash, that whole thing. Um, Even after my skin is destroyed, yet from my flesh I shall behold God. So it is a bodily resurrection where he is seeing God. So quite literally, it's not another, he will see God, and it is him who will see with his actual eyes even after his flesh is destroyed. So yeah, so very, very plain. But let's read the other ones because
Very
why not?
consistent too. Look
awesome.
at that.
Exactly. I know it's almost like the Bible is real. Um,
Consistency.
That's actually like very impressive consistency, like like irrefutable
You're
inconsistencies, you know?
missing the I. Just paste it in and put the I in the front.
Boom. Thank you. Boom. Ah, it makes more sense.
Because it's telling you, like, hey, I don't know what you're trying to say, but it doesn't exist here.
26, 19.
It will be highlighted for you right there.
Perfect. Your dead will live, their corpses will rise. You who dwell in the dust, awake and shout for joy, for your dew is as the dew of the dawn, and the earth will give birth to the departed spirits.
Boom.
Very plain. Um,
Hmm.
Oh, and the other one is going to be even after this, Ezekiel 37 describes it and it is almost creepy. So we'll go read that. It is like one of my favorite passages because it's so graphic. It's awesome.
So the Bible says that our corpses are gonna rise too, like not just like our
Not
spirit.
necessarily the literal corpse, but we will get glorified bodies. So there will be a bodily resurrection but there's debate on if it's like literally your body, which is why some people don't want to be cremated. It's because they think like, oh no, because then it's going to be ashes. And God can't
Yeah,
fix that. It's like
I
God
actually
can
had
easily
that
fix that.
I had a conversation with my mom about that. She's like, "You can't get cremated," and I was like, "God made Adam out of dirt. Why can't He
Exactly.
put my ashes back together?"
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
sure
Because
by
that,
now Adam's like completely deteriorated. There's no body for Adam.
well, that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
most
that was
bodies
my
are.
thought.
So like even
That
if you didn't get cremated, your body is eaten and withered away and is now dirt again.
Even
So
your
Yeah,
like,
bones are gone at that point.
yeah. So
you're old sludge inside of your casket.
exactly. So the people who say that is just like, doth you not understand God? Like, okay. And many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake to everlasting life, but the others to reproach and everlasting contempt. So literally right there describes the first and the second resurrection in a
Yep.
single verse. Fantastic. Now Ezekiel
The
37.
separation of the sheep and the goats.
Yeah. So yeah, this is one of the creepiest, most like graphic things in the Bible. It
I
is
would just
awesome.
listen to this again.
It's so good. The hand of Yahweh was upon me, and he brought me out by the Spirit of Yahweh and caused me to rest in the middle of a valley and it was full of bones. He caused me to pass among them all around, and behold, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and behold, they were very dry, meaning they'd been dead for a long time. He said to me, Son of man, call these bones, or can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord Yahweh, you know. Then he said to me, Prophesy over these bones and say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus says the Lord Yahweh to these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter you that you may come to life. I will put sinews on you, make flesh come upon you, cover you with skin, and put breath in you that you may come alive, and you will know that I am Yahweh. So I prophesied, and I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a rumbling, and the bones came together, bone to its bone. And I looked, and behold, sinews were on them, and flesh came upon them, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, Prophesy to the breath, prophesy, Son of Man, and say to the breath, Thus says Lord Yahweh, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe on these who were killed, that they may come to life. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they came to life and stood on their feet, an exceedingly great military force. Then he said to me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, Our bones are dried up, and our hope has perished. We are completely cut off. Therefore prophesy and say to them, Thus says Lord Yahweh, Behold, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves, my people, and I will bring you into the land of Israel. Then you will know that I am Yahweh when I have opened your graves and caused you to come out of your graves, my people. And I will put my spirit within you, and you will come to life, and I will place you on your own land. Then you will know that I, Yahweh, have spoken and done it, declares Yahweh. Oh,
So we will be getting our physical bodies back.
yes,
What
but
type
it'll
of?
be glorified. So, like,
Yeah.
if you're currently missing an arm, you probably gonna have your arms.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so this is like a future prophecy. Like
Yes.
this is the resurrection like in detail, but also like is it also like parable-ish
Uh,
or
no, this is
Terrible.
literally Ezekiel having a vision. So he's explaining what he's seeing. And
Mhm.
so what he's seeing is literally bones coming back together, and he's literally seeing like flesh growing on these bones that are reconnecting to each other. and then God making all these bodies alive again. So this is literally the resurrection. It's super duper fancy. And there could also be like side meanings to it, or that it could be paralleled with other stuff. But the literal thing is that this is just what he was actually physically seeing. He was having this vision, seeing this stuff happening, which, oh,
If you
super
think
cool.
about it, if you think about it, if it was a vision, that means that our bones were probably there in the midst somewhere.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
He saw my pinky
There's
toes.
That's awesome.
Okay, back to Mark. And when one of the scribes came and heard them arguing, he recognized that he had answered them well and asked him, "What commandment is the foremost of all?" Jesus answered, "The foremost is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." So that's the Shema. That's Deuteronomy 6. The Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other, or there is no other commandment greater than these. And the scribe said to him, "Right, teacher, you have truly stated that he is one, and there is no one else besides him. And to love him with all your heart and with all understanding, and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as himself is much more than all burnt offerings and sacrifices." And when Jesus saw that he had answered thoughtfully, he said to him, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." After that, no one would dare to ask him any questions. And Jesus began to say, as he taught in the temple, "How is it that the scribes say that the Christ is the son of David? David himself said in the Holy Spirit, the Lord said to my Lord, 'Sit at my right hand until I put your enemies beneath your feet.'" So that's Psalm 110. David himself calls him Lord. So in what sense is he his son? And the large crowd enjoyed listening to him. And in his teachings, he was saying, "Beware of the scribes who want to walk around in long robes and want respectful greetings in the marketplaces and the best seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets, who devour widows' houses and for appearance sake offer long prayers. These will receive greater condemnation." Quick little branch off of this back to the Reformation. One of the primary reasons that happened was indulgences. And with indulgences, it was that your loved ones are in purgatory, they're stuck there. The only way to get them out is to give the Catholic Church money, and then we will pray for you. And so what they would do is, quite literally, this is like foreshadowing that almost flawlessly. They would go to specifically widows' houses.
Yep.
And if like your husband died, they would go to you week after week after week after week, constantly telling you, like, "We just need a little bit more and then he can be free. Like, he is hurting right now. He is in agony. His skin is burning. He needs you. Pay us money." And they kept going back and back and back and back until she was completely destitute. And then they would claim, "He's out of purgatory. We did it." So that was one of the big reasons for the Reformation, where that was one of the things in the 95 Thesis, where it was just like, yeah, no, indulgences are really messed up. It's literally talking about this same kind of thing. For appearance sake, they offer long prayers. They go devour the widows' houses. These will receive greater condemnation.
Yeah, I've told them that multiple times, and then they're just like, "Well, that's your interpretation."
It's like, no,
Their
it's
favorite
literally
response.
what it says.
That's their
I can't-
favorite response. That's your
I do-
interpretation.
I can't stand when people say interpretation like that. It's just like, nope, you might have just interpreted what I said wrong. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and he sat down opposite the treasury and began observing how the crowd was putting money into the treasury, and many rich people were putting in large sums. And a poor widow came and put in 2 lepta, which amount to a quadrans. And calling his disciples to him, he said to them, "Truly I say to you, this poor widow put in more than all these putting money into the treasury. For they all put in out of their surplus, but she, out of her poverty, put in all she owned, all she had to live on. Beautiful. Questions? That was a lot, with a lot of rabbit trails.
Good rabbit trails.
Yes, they are all great.
I feel like I had one, but I don't know.
I also feel like you had one.
Maybe we
I
answered
can
it and we
I
forgot
can
about
feel
that.
you had one.
No, I can't think of nothing.
Anybody else have any questions for Mark 12?
Now
Not
I'm
about
really
Mark
happy I
12, but
didn't answer.
John wrote Revelations, right? In
Yes.
prison.
Yes. He was in prison on an island called Patmos.
In exile, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Oh, do you think the Pharisee was throwing shade when he's like uh well said, teacher, you have spoken the truth, for there is one God and there is no other but he. Like, do you think like he was saying that like sarcastically?
No, I think that he was confirming that because then Jesus responds saying, and when Jesus saw that he answered thoughtfully, so that he actually like considered it and thought of it, and he
Oh,
affirmed those things, he then says, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." So the other ones were more off. They're trying to trap him consistently in every possible way. They're trying to stump him with weird questions. But then this one, he literally confirms, like, yeah, I would agree with your answer fully. And Jesus is like, good. Then you're closer than you think.
but like he still like thought that like the offerings and the sacrifices were more important,
No,
right?
no, right here he says that to love him with all your heart and with all the understanding and with all the strength, and to love one's neighbor as himself is much more than all burnt offerings and sacrifices. So
Sorry, I
going
don't know
back
why.
to
Yeah, I thought it was like a question mark at the end, not a period. So he's
no,
agreeing.
yes, he's agreeing with him fully.
Okay, that's all.
Um, so like in Psalm 51, David says, "You do not desire sacrifices or burnt offerings, or I would give them. My sacrifice to you, O God, is a broken and contrite heart, which you shall not despise." So it's that contrition, it's you understanding that you have to depend fully on God. That is what God desires of us. He doesn't want us to do things for him. He doesn't want the burnt sacrifices. Those were all just a foreshadow of Jesus, which is why all those existed, was simply to foreshadow Jesus. There was no other reason for it. None of them atoned for any sins. It was a foreshadow that people could actually tangibly do in order to give them this consistent, perpetual reminder of what Jesus was going to do. Because everyone before Jesus, they were still justified the same way that we are, which is faith in Yahweh. It is faith that Yahweh is going to come to earth and die in our place, that he was going to be that sacrifice and perfect us through that one sacrifice. So they all believe that looking forward. We believe it looking back.
Awesome.
Bueno?
So this is like another little like side note because like I read a lot apart from like what we read together and what we're working on. So
As you
like when
should.
I was
Good.
reading, so like I read all of Moses's books. Like I just finished Deuteronomy and I started I think it's Joshua that's next. Um I had to take a break because I got really lost in there. Anyways, um like reading all the laws and all the sacrifices, like all I can think about, like, geez, like were these priests like really overweight back in the day? Because like they had to eat all this meat that was being sacrificed to atone
Right?
for the
I don't think
sins.
so. Because, I mean, if you're just eating meat, you will basically never get fat. If you're only
Yeah.
eating meat, it is basically impossible to get fat.
But that's
They
not
were the original
true.
carnivores.
It is basically true. There's always an extent to it, but you would have
But
to be
not for our
gluttonous to an
physique.
extent.
Well,
And it wasn't
that's what
just
I
the priests. It was
mean.
that the priests would first have it, and it would also go to the families of the priests, and then anything that was extra, the priest could give away to people. So, because the priests weren't allowed to be gluttonous either, so they couldn't eat in excess without burning off any of their weight. So like that's kind of like the whole thing of gluttony is eating too much, you're taking in too much energy, but
Right.
not burning it off. So like whenever you get
Right.
overweight, that is literally a result of gluttony. There's no other reason for it. It's that you took in
Right.
too much that you did not expel. And so they could not be doing that. They had to be obeying God's law. So even though they were eating a ton or then giving some away, they probably like those ones wouldn't have been fat. We see that Eli was 98 and fat because it said that
That's
he
what
was
I was
heavy
gonna
when he
say.
fell over and broke his neck. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he was gluttonous.
Wait, Eli was fat?
Yeah, whenever it
Eli
said
was
that
fat.
he fell and broke his neck, it said that it was because he was so heavy and
Was
old.
he a priest?
Oh.
Yes. He was the high priest.
See, that's what I mean.
So but he was bad. Remember, we went over all of that. These ones, the old ones were obeying it, but that one he was bad. Remember?
Wait, you know how the Old Testament says that the burnt offerings were like a nice aroma to
Mhm.
God? Is that basically like the equivalent of us barbecuing, and all those good smells are coming up? Like is that what God was smelling?
Probably. Just like it smells good. So like, yeah, if your neighbors are cooking burgers, you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So God loves that smell too, then?
I would assume so.
I
Because like if it's a
But
pleasing
in it,
aroma to God, then I would assume that anything that they're doing in that way, it smelled good.
Hmm.
would it be in the sense though of like burning away sin though?
Kind of, but it was always foreshadowing of it. It
Well, I
never
know it was
actually got rid of
foreshadowing,
sin.
but I didn't know if it could potentially
Which like it
have.
never actually like got rid of sin in any capacity. So I don't think it would be within that kind of pleasure because God knows it's a foreshadow. So God's
Fair
not
enough.
actively thinking that it's removing anything which would be pleasing to him. Because like it literally says in the Bible many times that he does not delight in sacrifices. That he did not want to go that route, but he did it to show us that route. And so I don't think it would be in that capacity. I think it would be closer to like literally like it smells good.
Hmm.
That'd be my guess.
Fair
Because then
enough.
there was also like burnt incense and stuff like that. And so
Yeah, I
burning
remember
incense,
reading about burnt incense and oils that are pleasing to me,
Mhm.
not so much
Well, but
like the meat being pleasing, but more like the
but the meat is so
oils.
pleasing.
I mean, there's different scents that we like. There's smells to like drinks and things that also smell
Yeah.
good.
Mhm. But
So,
if you have a drink, that doesn't really go everywhere. But whenever you burn something, that spreads and the aroma can be smelled for miles if the wind is blowing right.
I
So I
believe
think
that
it's
that it
larger
was
smell.
I believe that it was pleasing to God because they were doing it out of obedience and love, and that's what pleased him, that they were doing that because of obedience and love.
but
I
it
That's
think
does say
that,
the
definitely
smell.
possible. Yeah, but
yeah,
that
but
is definitely
well,
possible that could be contributing to it, but it
yeah,
describes it dozens of times as
as
a
a smell.
pleasing
Yeah,
aroma.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
think there's a good
Interesting
because
word
though.
smell.
God doesn't exactly, other than Jesus, doesn't exactly have a nose
But God, being God, is capable of understanding what every kind of smell would be, what would cause the
very true
smells, what the smells would smell like, because he's the one who designed it all.
because he's the creator of the smellers,
Exactly. He made the nose, so the nose knows.
the knower of the nose knows.
Hmm. But all right. Then I shall see you guys all next week. Wear your beanies.
Gotta go. I gotta buy mine.
Get it. They're
I
almost out
know,
of
me
stock.
too.
I don't look good with beanies.
I don't either. I look
I
like a lesbian, but I'm making it work.
I think it's the glasses
My
that make
problem too.
glasses
Yeah,
with a beanie make it look weird.
it does make it look weird,
It
but we'll
For
figure it
me, it
out.
pushes down on my glasses, and so then I have to
Yeah.
keep pushing them up.
That's fair. I
Wait,
just
am I the only one that doesn't
I
wear
just
glasses?
rested on top. Do what?
I'm
Are you
like,
the
am I
only one
the
that
only
doesn't wear glasses? Nate doesn't wear glasses.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
there's two of you.
Brad,
Do
Nate's
you
just
have
been quiet the whole
contacts,
time.
or are you just actually good at seeing?
I was blessed with seeing.
All right. Awesome. I shall see you guys next week, okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Guys.
See ya.
God
God
bless.
bless.